I love Chili's too.
Are there commercial jingles that resonate anymore?
Yeah, like newer ones?
Yeah.
O'Reilly.
Yeah,
But that's not new. I feel
Auto
like
parts.
I've been listening to that on ESPN Radio since the show joined ESPN Radio.
Save big money at Menards.
Yeah.
They're starting to use actual commercials, use music now.
Yeah, they use music. Yeah, that's the go-to now.
Yeah,
The
the
jingle,
new
like
Chevrolet commercial.
The general maybe, like, go to the general and save some time.
How about if you need an annuity and you need cash now, call JG Wentworth. 877 cash now.
I have an annuity and I need cash now.
That was a remarkable vocal range between the two of you. What a duo we
That's
have.
how the commercial goes, by the way.
I don't think we've taken proper advantage of Jessica and Roy's duet abilities. Tony, you and Amin were talking about the commercial that was on over my left shoulder a second ago. What was so fascinating about that commercial?
Dan, the weird thing about it is Amin and I were both in here yesterday in the shipping container looking at different TVs. So I'm looking at the one through the glass where you and Stu are, and then Amin's looking at it from the one on top. And we both kind of are listening to it or watching it, and it's this old lady who's just like screaming at the TV. So we zone out for a second, and then we zone back into the conversation you and Stu are having, and then we both zone out again. And it happened like 3 or 4 times in a span over 2 minutes, and this commercial was still on. I have no idea what it's for, but it's the longest commercial in history.
Medicaid.
At one point, I was watching it, and then I stopped watching, and then I watched it. I was like, oh, man, I wish I had told Tony, take a look at the TV. But it's probably going to be off by the time I say it. Then it kept going. I was like, maybe I can tell. Hey, Tony, you watching this? And he's like, yeah, I am. I said, it's going. So yesterday when it came on for a second time, we timed it. It is a 2-minute commercial in the middle of ESPN's big block of programming, Get Up and First Take. And I'm just like, this was the highest bidder? For 2 minutes of TV time?
What's it for?
We have no idea.
Medicaid.
Some sort of Medicaid fraud.
Medicare, Medicaid,
Not fraud.
something like
I don't
that.
know.
It's not for Medicaid.
Not fraud.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
not
how-
fraud. Not
that's how
fraud.
they-
Florida problems.
For him, those words
Just
are
assume it's
combined.
fraud.
Yeah.
But those big claims usually get a lot of. They get like 2 minutes. Like Camp Lejeune, they'll give you like 2 to 3 minutes.
No.
Like
But
Camp
this
Lejeune.
one was the lady going back and forth, and then on the bottom it
water
says
was
not
bad.
a. It says a paid actor, not a real person. You're like, I've been fooled.
Not a real person.
She's got like these big glasses on, and she's talking very
I mean, it's coming
cartoonish.
on again, so we'll point it out when it comes back on.
But Tony and Amin, like to their point, normally these commercials are reserved for lesser cable channels. When you watch like the ACC network on a Tuesday at noon, you'll see some weird ass commercials.
Money's money, Witty.
I know, but I'm saying, like normally those air in spots where I presume the commercial airtime during a replay of Virginia and Wake Forest from 2018 is pretty cheap.
Great
but
game, by the way.
during Get Up or during First Take, like there's a couple 100,000 viewers there. Like that's some dollars per second, I'd imagine.
Every day I did a 2-minute spot for Nature Bee. I mean, on this show. I mean, money's money. That's it. Highest bidder. Yeah.
Green New Zealand.
So it's like one of those Medicaid commercials where you saw Joe Namath and Jimmy Walk on
Broadway Joe.
William Shatner.
That's the life insurance. That's term life insurance.
There was there's ACC network commercials a lot of time that are like those tactical gear things. It's like tactical glasses.
The Bell and Howell tactical the triangle.
Yeah.
Like this is a regular
They have
triangle.
tactical everything.
That's
Glasses,
terrible.
Well,
Hell.
the
Running
flashlight.
over with a car.
On Off the Looking Glass, Kate and I made our own line of tactical gear. We had tactical bras, tactical thongs, tactical mascara, and then the government actually came out with its own tactical bra for women in the military.
Really?
So I would like 10% on that.
Exactly. More.
Not surprising at all that Stugotz is familiar with all fraud taking place. It's real wheelhouse. He jumped right in with great knowledge. Not encouraging to me that people on our own show, I can't keep their attention for 2 minutes,
No,
and
Dan,
it's
no.
distracted by Medicaid.
No, that's not what it is. It's
It's
that
either that or Tom Selleck telling you the benefits of a reverse mortgage.
Or Brett Favre on behalf of Copperfit.
No.
Go
Jerry
deep.
West
Go
too. Out
deep.
there. Yes.
Or the C-list actors that come and tell you about gold.
Oh yeah.
I love
That's
gold.
buy
Oh,
gold.
that's
Yeah.
Fox News. That's just like that is the
We know what
commercial that
Billy's
is
watching.
perpetually airing on Fox News.
Forex. The what's that? The like betting on futures of like currency exchange and stuff like that's another one.
There's also the coins, the specialty coins. Do you guys remember?
the
in,
Buffalo
like,
I
dollar.
miss wanting to get an Alaska quarter so
I was
much.
just gonna say Woody, did you guys collect the quarters in the 2000s when they came out with
Little
the
map.
special quarters?
The map, and you put
And
like
the
a
map
quarter.
is like, ooh, I got New Jersey today. Let me put it in there.
It was
Oh,
just,
that was the best.
It was too much of a commitment. Like, it was too long term
It took
for me.
years.
Well,
Oh, it took
also-
like 10. There was like 5 a year. There's 50 states, and I was like 12 at the time. Like, that was the
Do they-
majority of my
do
life.
they still make them? Do they still make
they're in
quarters?
They
circulation.
started changing. Like, I think they made it to territories at one point, and then there was just like other like special tours.
No,
I thought you were going to say they made one of Terre Haute, Indiana. And I
There's
was
no
like,
Puerto
there's
Rico
no way.
quarter,
Yeah, there is.
There's no way they went that
there's
far down the
territory
list.
quarters. I'm pretty positive. I'm gonna look this up.
My problem was I wanted to spend the money. Like it's nice until like I need 50 cents. It's like, all right.
There's
Back
one
to
of
the
those
drawing
quarters.
board.
There's one of those quarters that's worth like $1 million. By the
No,
way.
there's not.
Yeah, there is.
No,
If
no,
you
there's
look it up,
not.
there's one of those quarters that's worth like $1 million.
Was it George Washington's actual quarter?
No. It's one of those state series quarters is worth like a ton of money.
They're literally worth 25 cents.
You're looking at the wrong place.
Tony, I need you to look it up, and if
Witty's
you
on it
have
right
it
now. Yeah, he's
right,
looking at it.
if you have it right, Witty's got to look it up
No,
for
he's
you.
looking. No, he's looking it up right now. I'm saying. So if I get it right, what?
I was going to say, if you get it wrong, you got to go to the penalty box. If you get it
okay.
right, Billy's got to go to the penalty box.
I think they should both go to the penalty box.
All right, so okay, well, smart guy over there. There's USVI, there's Puerto Rico, there's the DC, there's Northern Mariana Islands, there's Guam, and there's American Samoa. Wow, it's quarters.
Nice.
2009 edition.
How many of them are worth $1 million?
All of them, according to Tony.
I can confirm.
Just a couple.
I can confirm there is a quarter that's worth $1 million, but they're usually like historic quarters. Like the 1796 B2 quarter dollar was minted in Philadelphia. In the first year the U.S. Mint produced a quarter, that
quarter.
coin sold at auction for $1.5 million.
So like I said, George Washington's actual
Yeah.
quarter.
So not Wyoming that was
state-
printed
no, it
in
was a state quarter, though.
2007.
It was a
Keep
state
digging,
quarter.
Woody. In the meantime, while we're talking about collectible quarters, my cousin is one of those people that collects the collectible spoons.
the same cousin?
The Twine Tour cousin. She got one actually at one of the Twine Tour locations.
This can't be true, right? This
no,
is not true.
This person's real.
This is not a real person.
I've seen this person. I broke bread with this person. This is a real
I mean, went to
person.
pecan with this person.
Not a real person.
She drove 10,000 miles to see Twine and also has a mini spoon collection.
Absolutely.
This is all real.
Guys, okay, I found an article from the U.S. Sun. So it's the Sun's U.S. version that was written October 17th, 2022. So 2 days,
2 days ago.
Yeah. The most valuable state quarters worth up to $788.
So who's right?
Just a bit outside.
5-minute major, Tone.
I thought he was at least going to say $788,000.
He said it with too much delight. You knew he was right by the way that he said it. I have gotten too far away from where it is that we were an hour ago, which is talking about floppers and top 5 flopping lists. Amin got jealous that Stugotz had one. Amin was objecting to some of the things on Stugotz's list. So let's do them now, both. Top 5 floppers of all time. We're going to go back and forth between Stugotz and Amin. Number 5, Stugotz.
By the way, it's the Paul Pierce top 5 floppers of all time. Okay, so
That's
he's
your
not
list
on the
or
list.
both of them?
Well, he has naming rights.
Yeah,
Who has naming rights to yours?
Man, I got. I'm gonna give it to Raja Bell. Raja Bell. Official flop list.
All right, you go first. You're number 5.
Are we doing OLIs? We're not doing OLIs. You got
Go
any
ahead,
OLIs?
do OLIs.
Okay,
Go ahead.
OLI. Olden Polynice.
Really?
Wow, that is an old one.
Old LI.
Old LI. I have Danny Ainge, OLI.
That's a good one.
Didn't Olden Polynice get arrested for impersonating a police officer?
Yes, he did. That's correct, Dan.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, he's 7'3".
That's what's funny about it.
What else do you have in Oda B. McDowell?
Number 5, Stugotz.
Anderson Varejao.
Oh, Stugotz's list is starting strong. Number 4.
Oh, number 5 for me.
Oh, number 5 for you.
Patrick Beverly.
Number 4, Stugotz.
Reggie Miller.
Number 4, Amin.
Marcus Smart.
Number 3, Stugotz.
Manu Ginobili.
Number 3, Amin.
Joel Embiid.
Wow.
Because he smiled. Here's why Joel Embiid is so hot. Because not only does he flop, but as soon as they give him the call, he gets up and he's laughing. Like, I can't believe they fell for it again. He does it every time. It tickles me to no end. And he's like, me, Joel Embiid, flopper.
How did should I get this over on them again? Everyone sees I keep laughing at him. I'm a prankster. Number 2.
Vlade Divac.
How about that pronunciation?
Yeah.
Low, I think, on his list at number 2.
Vlade.
Number 2, I mean.
Sasha Vujicic. The machine.
A good one.
I don't like how xenophobic this list is.
Number 1. Wait a minute. This is not xenophobia. This is celebrating the flopping artistry of foreigners. Number 1.
Duke University.
We're back.
Number 1 is a 3-way tie for me. 1B, Reggie Miller. 1A, Manu Ginobili. And the undisputed number 1 champion of the world, Vlade Divac.
I just saw on the televisions in here the Yankees yesterday with Stanton and Judge hitting home runs, with their giants hitting home runs. The Yankees have been criticized for years because they haven't won in a while, because they get to the playoffs and the home runs don't work as well in the playoffs. But they advanced yesterday, and Billy thinks the fix is in, and Stugotz thinks that Terry Francona was in on the fix.
Well, they got an extra day of rest, and the Yankees used it to their advantage with Nestor Cortez. And he pitched well. He gave him 5 strong innings. But it was strange to see Francona. Like, he cost them a series possibly here because he went with Savale.
Not possibly.
Right. He went with Savale, I believe, who is terrible. Has been terrible, is terrible, especially against the Yankees. He could have went with Shane Bieber. He didn't want to go throw Bieber on 3 days rest. Now, Bieber was dreadful against the Yankees, I think, in Game 2. But you have to go with your best arm. There is no tomorrow. There are no other games to be played if you lose. And if you're going to go down, you have to go down with Shane Bieber. So I think Francona, it was such an odd decision because he said he didn't want to throw him on 3 days rest, yet Shane Bieber later in the game was up in the bullpen, ready to go. And it's odd that he didn't go with his best pitcher, and I do think Francona was kind of in on the fix there.
Yeah, I mean, I was not prepared today to say that he was in on the take, but there were some suspicious things going on. There was very clearly, if you looked at the replay, a runner that was safe at first. He didn't challenge. That ended an inning. Right. That could have led to some runs. And
he was ready to go home, Terry.
Yeah, he was ready to go. Cheato Francona, we saw what was going on there. And he seemed ready. He seemed ready for the offseason.
Mm-hmm. I loved that Stugotz gave me 90 seconds of baseball takes because I don't hear those. Right. You don't hear baseball takes.
It's a terrible job.
Horrible.
They picked the wrong starter. They went to the bullpen too soon. That's like Boston sports radio in June. I've never experienced that before because we don't give a shit about our baseball team in quite the same way. And so the fact that Stugotz had these, he picked the wrong starter, and let's argue.
He did pick the wrong starter. He should have gone to the bullpen sooner. He got 1/3 of an inning and 3 runs.
He had an ERA of 80 for the game.
Horrible.
I mean, Savale against the Yankees this year has a 10 ERA. That's his Game 5 starter when Shane Bieber's available to you?
I love it. Also, every home run that gets hit in Yankee Stadium looks like a pop fly.
Yep. Well, it's those two guys too. It's right field and those two guys because Stanton and Judge hit pop-ups that go out of the park. You think they're pop-ups and they just keep going.
I would be terrified to see what if they actually got one. I think it would end up in Queens. They would hit it so hard.
No, they're not that good. How is every hotel in New York booked? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, that story. Tell them about that story.
Well, it was sprinkling the day before, so they canceled the game. But the Guardians had to check out of their hotels because it was supposed to be the last game 2 days ago. So they checked out of their hotel, and they were either going to go to Houston or they were going to go home to Cleveland, depending on the outcome of the game. Then they canceled the game, so they went back to the hotel, and the hotel was overbooked, so they couldn't stay there. And then they checked every other 8 billion hotels in New York, and no hotel could accommodate the entire team. So the whole city was booked on a Wednesday, on a Monday night. The whole city was booked. They couldn't get a single hotel, so they had to split up the team. Cheato was in on this whole thing. He was probably telling people, "Let's split them up. Let's go around town. I don't want to be doing this anymore. I want to go home to wherever it is that he's from." Where's he from? What's he doing on the offseason? He's on a boat somewhere, right? Is he a lake guy or do you think he's an ocean guy?
Definitely a lake guy.
Really?
Lake guy, yeah. Strikes me as a lake guy.
Put it on the poll at LeBatard Show. Was Tito on a boat on the lake in the 5th inning of yesterday's game because he was in such a hurry to get
He was pissed probably. He had plans. He said, you know what? I know that the way that this works, I know the Yankees have to advance. I just have to play my part. Again, I'm not saying that he's in on it. I would never. But he was probably thinking, you know what, Tuesday I'm going to be out on the lake somewhere. And then when he found out he couldn't be out on the lake somewhere, Lake Erie, whatever lake it is that he goes out on, he said, you know what? I'm going to be there Wednesday. No one's going to ruin my fishing trip again.
With Savali. Yeah.
You asked about the hotels. I actually just experienced this. I traveled was part of the Inter Miami contingent for their playoff game.
How'd you travel there, Woody?
We traveled by charter.
Sports charter.
And actually, they changed the venue from this game from New Jersey to Queens, and we had to change hotel as a result. And the booking that we had was changed, and so we had to go to a different hotel. And it's actually remarkably difficult to find hotels for 50 people because you're not going 2 to a room. You need 50 rooms.
Yeah.
And
so
if like Harry Styles is in town, good luck.
Forget about it. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it actually was difficult for us to find another hotel, and also like the Cleveland Guardians are not going to be staying at a Marriott. They're probably gonna want to go to the W or the Intercontinental or one of the nicer hotels in New York City. So I can't imagine that they got split up in 3 different directions because on short notice, it's hard to find a hotel room in New York City. Also, New York City, way overcrowded. I can't do it. For me, it's like perpetually feeling like you're in Vegas. It's exhausting.
Which part of New York were you in? Were you in Midtown?
Yeah, I was in and around down.
That's your mistake.
That's
Manhattan.
exhausting. Yeah, you don't stay there. It's an amateur
You don't
move.
go there.
Right.
I mean, well, first off, I didn't choose where I was staying. I was with the team.
Right.
But second,
The contingent.
it's just like the subway. You go down, and like every car ride is 40 minutes in New York City. Why are there so many people? There's just so many people everywhere all the time. Find somewhere else to go. I actually don't think, like, having been in New York City for 48 hours, I don't think enough of them came to Florida. There's so many.
No, too many of them.
So
too
many
many of them
have come
people
to
in New
Florida.
York
No,
City.
too many
Why?
of them are here.
Go somewhere else. There's like a great, vast land. Like, this country is one of the biggest countries
But
in the
it's
world.
got more
Go to
culture
Iowa
per
or
square
something,
foot.
man.
Ew.
It's got culture. It's got culture per square foot.
Witty.
Let's recreate some culture somewhere else.
Witty.
So
It's
many
not go to
people.
Iowa. It's go back to Iowa. I hate those people. They lived in New York for 2 years. Like, oh, I'm from New York. No, you're not. You corn husker. Go shuck potatoes or whatever it is they
shuck
do.
potatoes.
There's
I think you
people
shuck
doing that?
corn.
Those shuck potatoes. Did
You
you
do
guys
shuck corn,
see
Dan.
the interview or the press conference about the rat infestation in New York that happened yesterday?
Well, did the rats hold the press conference? Or?
Well,
The union.
There were some-
They are big enough that they probably could.
well, Scabby the rat is the mascot of all the unions that are on strike. There were a few really good quotes from it. This is from Emma Court's Twitter page. These are all quotes from the press conference that is about, you know how Reagan had the war on drugs?
Yeah.
This is the war on rats, apparently.
We're going to lose that war.
Rat apocalypse. I mean, we lost the war on drugs, so
No, we're going to get washed in the world.
I don't want to go to war with rats.
No,
like
we'll
let's
get
just
washed.
live in our own.
Just
like,
leave 'em alone.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. You
No,
do you,
no.
I do
I'd
me,
back
and
us.
we're fine.
I'd back human beings against rats.
we
No,
have to
I
fight the
don't
rats.
want it. No.
We have to fight the rats.
No.
These are
I
some of
was
the
actually
quotes.
I went to the subway and I was kind of like, I saw these videos I've seen these videos on TikTok of like these giant rats are just running around at subway stations. I looked down the entire time. I was waiting for a rat to
You didn't
attack
see
me.
any, right?
Yeah.
Typically, they're not on the platform. They're on the tracks.
Yeah.
If you're
Yes.
watching the track, they're all over
They're
the track.
rarely on the platform.
I
Yeah.
just
and it
I-
also depends on time of day and temperature.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you for making that point. I'd like to get ahead for any rats that are listening to this and thinking of coming down from New York to Florida. Too hot for you down here. I'm telling you, it's too
There are
hot
rats
down
here.
here. Yeah, no, but these are
Raton.
Florida
They've
rats.
been
yeah.
born and bred in this life.
Yeah, it's too hot down here, New York rats. Don't come down here. We already have key rats down here. We don't need New York rats. Like, let's keep it up in New York. Stay there. Stay in the subways. Do whatever you want.
Snowbird rats.
It's
I got scared one day outside of a Burger King and disgusted.
BK.
He's right about that.
Is he looking at me?
Because it looked like a giant bit of shrubbery was moving because there were so many rats across from a school.
Have you ever seen a rat frenzy, Dan?
I think that's what I was watching.
Oh, it was this. It's to this day the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life.
so you'll love this.
What is the story?
Well, I need to read the rat quotes. Let me read these quotes first, Amin. These are from the people giving the press conference about the rats.
Do you know who these people are? Is it like the mayor?
It was on CNN. I can give you the names. They're on some sort of city commission, I think. There are many rivers that are feeding the sea of rodents in the city, and today we're damming one of them. The biggest swing you can take in cleaning up our streets is shutting down all-night, all-you-can-eat rat buffet. So they're limiting the hours that you can put trash out, I guess, is one of their solutions.
A very
and then it says,
creative way of saying
rats will hate this announcement. The rats don't run the city, we do. Yeah. This is not Ratatouille. Rats are not our friends.
I don't like that.
And then finally, New Yorkers will not have to fear as many rats hiding in the late-night shadows.
So
I don't like that.
You mentioned that 4 times.
We came out and we did 40 minutes on not liking hate, and here we are hating on rats.
They carry disease, though, Billy, and they are gross, and they can bite you.
We're very
and give you
anti-hate.
rabies.
whoever said that, those quotes, I feel like Stugotz should tell them, I care about you. don't say this.
I think it was the mayor, wasn't it?
It was not Eric Adams.
I think it was Eric Adams, actually.
I don't think it was.
So
you guys are very vigilant about wanting to know who these quotes are coming from.
Just let the quotes live anonymously. They're people you don't care about.
Sounds like Commissioner Gordon
this
from
is
a
the
Batman
place
movie.
where you guys want more information.
So Jessica, according to Orkin Pest Control, Chicago ranked as the rattiest city
There's so many rats
for the
there.
8th straight year. So my buddy Omen, who's from Chicago, says, I don't believe it. Sorry. Maybe it said this for last year or the year before that, but definitely not the last 8 years. I've never seen a rat on the train in Chicago in my life. In New York, it was rats wearing suits sitting next to me on the train.
Put it on
That's
the
also
poll,
accurate.
Guillermo, at LeBatard Show. Are you surprised that Chicago has a dynasty that has dominated 8 years of having the most rats?
The rattiest city.
I was going to make like a Jerry Reinsdorf joke, but I'm not going to go there.
Classy.
Someone texted me the other day. This is kind of going along with like, oh, we don't have rats in Miami. Like they stay in New York. Someone texted me the other day and had the audacity to say, are there cockroaches in Chicago? My friend told me there's no cockroaches there. What? Of course there are cockroaches there.
What hick asked that question? What? Oh, no, was it your cousin?
No.
Oh.
There are more cockroaches
The hick from French Lick.
South Florida. Stugotz, go sit in the penalty box. Go sit in the penalty
Get out
box.
of here! And Tony still has a 5-minute major and the coin being $1 million.
Go sit with him, Tony.
Tony needs to go, too.
Now I've rewarded Stugotz.
But
Go sit with him, Tony.
Let's go, Tony.
5 minutes in the penalty
South
box.
Me on the bottom, you on the bottom.
South, get out
Oh
of
my
here.
God.
Why can't you just leave well enough alone? Fuck. Your lack of subtlety is amazing. I got to think that South Florida has more cockroaches. South Florida has to be to cockroaches what Chicago is to rats, is it not?
I mean, they all lived in my old apartment last summer, so yeah.
The roaches?
Yeah.
I was literally surrounded by cockroaches for like months, and I had to move. It was horrible.
I like the idea you walking in and the cockroaches in the kitchen like souffle.
Literally, Whitty saw them.
I'm your roommate.
Yeah, they would like fold my laundry for me and stuff, and I'm like, you guys need to get out of here.
Hey,
A list from pest.org in
Okay.
2017. Actually, do you want to do top five cities with the most cockroaches?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Number 5, Phoenix. I mean,
Scorpions
I
too.
gotta think our swampy weather is just a place for them that is friendlier than most.
Dan, they're cockroaches. The whole
Dan?
point is that they survive everywhere.
I will. Spoiler alert: you're on the right track. Number 4, Atlanta. Number 3, Miami.
Number 3.
The blurb underneath it says, in 2016, Miami didn't see a single day below 57 degrees. Mix that with a city notorious for its humidity and lays right on the coast of a hot ocean, and you have a place where cockroaches set up shop and have no reason to leave.
Set up shop. I like
The
it.
cockroaches are filing for an LLC.
They've got a little stand like Lucy in Peanuts, right? Like Doctor is in.
Number 2, Houston. Do you want me to read it? Houston is one of the hottest and most humid cities in the states, and it ranks number 2 on the list with 38% of residents encountering cockroaches at some point. The city is known for the size of its cockroaches, too. A New York Times profile in the 80s joked that one man new to Houston, upon first seeing a local cockroach, thought it was a Volkswagen and tried to drive it away. And number
what a quaint anecdote.
Number 1, New Orleans.
That's the joke, Roy.
I had an embarrassing moment the other day because Valerie is very afraid of cockroaches, where I came in running heroically to get one, and I had a shoe, and I missed by a little bit and then barrel rolled onto the floor and was on my back after missing. Yes,
So you put so much effort that you then tumbled afterwards.
I was there to be like the heroic savior, and then it was just laughably, she's still laughing at me about it because it was just true incompetence. I missed it by like half a foot. It scampers away in the other direction. She's just got an injured husband who's on his back
You
in his
became the
underwear.
cockroach. Whitty saw this cockroach that was in my last apartment. I think I've said this before on the show. You know those lamps, the sexy fishnet lamps?
Yeah.
Yeah, this cockroach had a leg like that lamp. Just a leg sticking up in the air. It was ridiculous. It was like a 2-foot-long leg. It had calves. It had quads. This was a shapely leg.
You moved because of this.
It was
I didn't know you
horrible.
spent months there. I thought you had spent weeks or days there because you were trying to get out of that situation.
Months, and I had to move. I had a whole situation with my landlord I don't even want to get into. I don't want to get sued. It was a whole fiasco. My first apartment I ever lived in Miami, and the roaches were the true tenants. I was just visiting the Roach Motel.
I have a bizarre relationship with pests where I'm terrified of them, but if you give me a paper towel, I'm a hero all of a sudden. I can no problem grabbing a roach, grabbing lizards. All I need is a little paper towel, maybe a long piece of...
grab a lizard?
Yeah.
I've never, you can't. They're too quick.
No, you can't.
Well,
no,
if
but
they're
like
dead, you have
the
to.
ones that infiltrate homes in South Florida are small enough that you can grab.
Yeah, the little ones, there's a spot that you can touch them. They open their mouth. You can put them on your ears like earrings. That's something I saw as a child that I never liked. It's not
What?
something I ever want. Yeah.
My brother used to do that. Yes, they
See?
try to stay up, obviously. They're in survival mode, and so you could put their mouths on your earlobes, and they hang there like earrings.
Florida man shit.
Happy 56th birthday to John Favreau.
Happy birthday to him. I don't care. Good luck.
Amin must love his work on Star Wars and his evolution in his career to decide I'm going to direct things and I'm going to go the sci-fi route.
Never could have imagined that when I watched PCU back in like 1994 or whatever, like this guy would be responsible for so much of my content consumption, because it's not just the Star Wars stuff. Remember, he's the guy that wrote and directed the first Iron Man movie. He was very instrumental in the MCU creation.
He was great in Rudy.
Yes, he was.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
That was what I was going to say.
Oh, sorry. Stole your thunder.
Totally.
Rudy, overrated as a movie.
Wow. And a story, but we'll get to that another
It's a
day.
good movie, Dan.
Never played.
It's a nice movie.
Put it on the poll at
did play.
LeBatard Show.
They made it all up.
No, they didn't make it all up.
Man, I asked Joe Montana. Joe Montana was like, man, I love, one of my favorite things is when people ask Joe Montana about Rudy, because he doesn't hide his disgust and disdain at all.
Well, now you're talking about two different things. There's the movie Rudy, and then there's the guy Rudy.
I'm talking about the guy Rudy, like the fact that the real Rudy never.
The players on the Rudy team don't remember things the way that the movie portrays them.
Like the throwing down of the jersey so Rudy could play?
Correct.
Oh.
But it's a nice movie.
Put it on the poll. More accurate description of the movie Rudy, nice or overrated? Speaking of movies...
What kind of word
just
salad
kill a
was
bug?
that, by the way? The people on the team don't remember things the way the movie portrayed it. Like, that is...
That's not word salad.
Yes, it is.
That means exactly what I said.
The movie was made up.
Yeah, it's a movie.
It's a movie.
Hollywood, yeah.
It's not a documentary. It's a
I have
movie.
terrible news for you about the Miracle on Ice movie.
Russia won.
They bust that ass. 5-0.
Not everything happened quite the way that they showed it in the movie.
Amin was talking about movies earlier and said something that I did not know, that part of Jack Nicholson's famous scene, and Whitty, can you find for us Shannon Sharp doing that scene, because it's part of our infatuation, our early infatuation with Shannon Sharp before we started doing movie reviews with him and realized he didn't know that much about most movies.
He knew just about that movie, apparently. It was a great run we had with Shannon. It lasted a couple of weeks.
It was.
I
It was a
mean,
lovely run
yes.
before Shannon parlayed it into Skip Bayless Bayless's sparring mate. We will find the sound momentarily of
I
the
love
scene.
that, by the way. The number of characters who are big characters on this show who have gone on to great things in careers in media.
Well, a factory for FS1 daytime programming, because Marcellus Wiley was big around here.
But all he had seen was A Few Good Men, and we learned that like 4
Exactly
weeks
right.
in.
Not even 4 weeks. I think it was 3 weeks, and he was asking for payment for his movie reviews, and that's where the relationship
Not
ended.
just that, but like there was so much prep work that we were doing on the front end. We like had to run every movie we were going to talk about by his people to make sure that he had seen it or heard. And we're just like, this is like a full-time job for multiple people just to get 10 minutes out of movie talk and quotes about A Few Good Men.
And here is where we fell in love with him.
Has walls, and these walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Who's going to do it? You, Lieutenant Weinberg. I have a greater responsibility than you could possibly fathom. You weep for Santiago, you curse the ring. You have that luxury. You have the luxury of not knowing what I know. Santiago's death, while tragic, probably saved lives. And my appearance, grotesque and incomprehensible to you, saves lives. You don't want the truth that deep down in places at parties, you don't talk about it. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. We use words like honor, code, loyalty. We use these words on the backbone of a lifetime spent defending something. You use them as a punchline. I have the time nor the inclination to explain myself to a man that rises and sleeps under the blanket of freedom that I provide and then question the manner in which I provide it.
Amin says that Jack Nicholson, or a portion of this, Jack Nicholson ad-libbed in a way that I thought made it better than it was in the script.
Yeah, enhanced the movie. Made that scene what it is, you know?
The original line he's supposed to say was, "You already have the truth." But the change was made by Nicholson himself on the spot with, "You can't handle the truth."
I've also heard that, so he does that monologue, absolutely crushes it. And then they have to reshoot the scene to get everyone's perspective that's in the room. And they're like, "All right, Jack, you're good." He goes, "No, I want to keep doing it." So he did that monologue
Over
like
and over?
30 times.
Oh, wow.
So they can get every person in the courtroom's reaction, like genuine reaction to him delivering it in exactly that cadence.
You can't handle the truth was what I thought the line was, but we're rewriting history, I guess.
Chris Cody, a better improver than Jack Nicholson.
And Jack
And
Nicholas
Jack
as well.
Nicholas.
The Golden Bear.
My bad. That is a fine, actually. I've made that mistake a few different times.
I thought they were the same person. I thought they were the same person when I was like 5 years old.
So last week's Cinephobe episode.
You thought the Joker was winning the Masters?
I mean, how could they possibly have the same name? I figured this golfer is the best actor on earth, or vice versa. I'm not sure which.
Maybe
But they have the exact same name to me, and I still get them confused.
Well, Cinephobe, last week's episode was Club Dread.
What's Cinephobe?
Oh, that's the podcast where Zach Harper and I watch movies that are poorly rated on Rotten Tomatoes and try to ascertain whether or not they're accurately rated or perhaps didn't get a fair shake. That Cinephobe is produced by Anthony Mays. You get it wherever you get podcasts, part of the Metal Arc Media Empire. And this month has been Broken Lizard Month. And so we did the movie Club Dread, and it has Bill Paxton in it. He kills it as Coconut Pete. I still have to check Bill Paxton or Bill Pullman. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know which one of them died, right?
Well, Paxton died weeks after being on with us. We get blamed as a cursed show for some of the people who have died, and Paxton was one of them.
And I always get him confused with John Paxson, too, because it's either like this guy ran the Bulls or he was in Club Dread, and I can't remember which one.
Hit enormous threes or was a great actor.
I mean, what is Broken Lizard Month?
Broken Lizard is the comedic troupe that gave you movies like Super Troopers, Club Dread, Beer Fest, Slammin' Salmon, which is
Dukes of Hazzard.
in Miami.
Sort of.
Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah.
Not really.
They wrote and directed it, but they didn't. It wasn't their movie.
What are you doing this month? Like, what movies are you highlighting?
We
of theirs?
did. So we started with Beer Fest. We did Club Dread, which is the episode that's out now. Tomorrow's episode is Slammin' Salmon, which is based in Miami. It's that's Michael Clark Duncan. He plays like a retired boxer who owns a sushi restaurant or whatever in Miami and owes money to the Yakuza and has to come up with like $20,000 by the end of the night. And then,
I saw it terrible. Delightfully terrible.
Give it a listen.
Yeah.
Give it a listen. Cinephobe.
Slam and Salmon?
That's the name of the movie. Slam
Yeah.
and Salmon.
Wow, I've never heard of this film before.
I hadn't heard of it either, but I was surprised. But it's remiss. I should point out, because Zach says whenever I'm here, I never say this. We need to get 20,000 reviews on Apple Podcasts by the end of 2023. We're at 4,000 right now. So if everyone
20,000 reviews?
that's,
Why?
Ask Zach. I don't know.
Well, you don't
he's
even
not
know.
here.
You need
can't-
reviews.
you
I mean,
can't
Zach says if we don't get 20,000 reviews by the end of 2023, we will breach our contract and end the podcast.
I like that.
That's what he
Yes.
says.
Our show has 30,020 on Apple Podcasts, so
No.
it just goes
Look
to
at me,
show that
Louis.
from a perspective.
Sounds like we need to catch up.
Well, what constitutes a review? Like, could I just put like one letter and like 5 stars, and that
Yes,
counts?
5
for you?
stars, and you can just say whatever. You can put your name, whatever it is.
Great podcast.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Why don't you do this?
That
that's an
wasn't him
example.
complimenting
Why
you.
don't you-
He was giving an example
Yeah.
to the audience of how quickly you can do
Let's
it.
do
the Cody
this.
seat.
Let's-
Just turn it to Greg.
Thank you, Dan.
I mean, let's do this like as a test to see the power of that Sharon today. Like, just have a code word and have everybody use that one word and give your reviews and see how many reviews you get as a result of plugging this.
So if I say right now, everyone should leave a 5-star review with the word salmon in it.
yeah.
That's going to get it done.
Is that going to count?
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as they do. By the way, we have some listeners who go to the Apple store and go phone by phone, device by device, and leave a review on each one. If you want to do that too,
Well, speaking of podcasts and the podcast industry, Ben Roethlisberger,
He's in the game.
I just learned that he's in the game. There are a lot of people in this game right now, way too many people. I've told you before that it's either 98 or 99% of podcasts do not have 5,000 listeners. Ben Roethlisberger has a podcast called Footballin', and he doesn't spell it.
Yep.
It's BAHLIN. I don't know if
I have
it's
a
an
theory.
apostrophe or a G at the end.
there's no
Apostrophe.
G. There's no G.
Yeah.
I have a theory. If he spelled it footballin', BALLIN, a little too urban. Too urban. Ballin' with an H. Now you got your people out there in the sticks saying this is for us.
This is a Pittsburghese thing. Adding the H, ball, like going downtown. Like he's just doing a Pittsburgh thing
Like
there.
I said, the people out in the sticks.
Yeah.
He
Well,
is-
it's a pretty, I mean, it's a medium-sized city. I won't say it's big.
City's a little bit of a stretch. No? Town.
It's a city.
Township.
Put
It's
it on
a
the
city.
poll. Is Pittsburgh a city or a town?
Chris is there right
Come
now.
on.
We could check in with him.
Call him.
Call him.
Do you think
He
he's
looks like
the
he's
expert
having a
on this?
ball, by the way. Oh my
Wait, is it a
goodness.
ball or
A ball.
Not surprisingly, Ben Roethlisberger is wearing camouflage while giving the sound that
So metropolitan.
Tom Brady didn't look like he wanted to be out there
Yeah.
on Sunday, which tends to be how 18 points looks to Tom Brady.
It's also the thing you say when you come out of the gates and you're on YouTube and you have more than 50,000 views for your first episode, and then they dwindle down to 1,400 views a couple of weeks later. You got to say something about Brady. I mean, Ben
cold
gets
game.
the game. He
Boy,
really
it's a
does.
cold. Ain't this business a cold game, man? Yeah, like we've all experienced. Well, I have at least. Where it's like you come out the gates and like, whoa, people are really into this. Like this is the start of something amazing. And then episode 2, like, wait, where did all those numbers go?
The counterpoint to the stat you just gave about 99% of podcasts have fewer than 5,000 listeners. If you have like 5,001 listeners, you're in the 99th percentile. You're a great podcaster. You are ballin'.
What do we make of Ben Roethlisberger saying that Tom, like that is reading body language, that is reading losing. Tom Brady has said
That's
not-
watching the game on Sunday, to be honest. Like it just they didn't play well. The team didn't play well, and there was all the rumors swirling about. Well, it wasn't even a rumor. He missed the walkthrough. He went to the wedding, and he yelled at his offensive line on the field. That's just like, he didn't look like he wanted to be there.
Well, he said he responded to that, yelling at the offensive line, saying it wasn't my best day. I mean, I watched some of that game, and it did look like Brady, for the first time, kind of didn't want to be on a football field. It was weird.
But it also looked like he's just playing for a normal football team. Like just your bang average, normal football team that I have watched my entire life that does dumb shit, that can't block, that makes mistakes. Tom Brady is experiencing the life that other NFL quarterbacks have experienced for the last 21 years, and he is no longer good enough to overcome it.
It reminds me of the picture of Diddy sitting courtside at the Garden, and he's got a wad of money, and he's staring at this $1 single bill like, the hell is this? That's what Tom Brady playing on Sunday must have felt like. Like, what is this bullshit? We're getting our ass beaten. Like, this is new.
The Steelers looked really. I mean, the Steelers had a historically bad loss to the Bills the weekend before. Like, one of the worst losses in franchise history. For even if he's playing bad, for them to still not be able to score more than 18 points. I mean, I think you have to take it in the context of like the Steelers had almost hit rock bottom the weekend before, and now they're going against a team that was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago with Tom Brady, and it was just like, what happened there?
Stugotz, I can't believe, as someone who's needed on that wall, is always on that wall, that Whittingham just said Tom Brady is no longer good enough to overcome it, and you let it slide. What were you doing?
Pointing at you.
I was physically pointing at you.
I got to be honest what I was doing. I was looking at the Thursday night spread for the game because the Cardinals play. It's a short week, and the new Warcraft just came out, and I am pounding the Saints because Kyler Murray is going to be distracted. I mean, that's what I was doing.
The new Warcraft?
Whatever the video game is.
Modern Warfare.
Yeah, Modern Warfare. That game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Me and Stu were talking about it in the penalty box.
Yeah.
He was having a sandwich. I was having having a conversation. We're like, hey, Modern Warfare came out. Kyler hasn't slept in 3 days.
Right.
Slammed the St. Rooney's.
Short week.
Describe anything about Modern Warfare to us.
I can't. I mean, I've never played the video game.
He doesn't
I just
need
know.
to, though.
Right.
Yeah, he doesn't need to.
We all know what I'm talking. There was a clause preventing him from playing that video game so he could study more. Now they eventually took it out, which they should have.
That's not true.
Yeah, there was.
That's just a lie.
Read between the lines,
and
Jess.
It's more accurate than Rudy. What he just said is more accurate than the motion picture Rudy.
Guillermo, please put it on the poll at
But it doesn't have the
LeBatard
same soundtrack.
Show. Have you ever heard anyone refer to the New Orleans football team as the St. Rooney's?
Have you done Judge Dredd yet?
No, because fucking Mike wants to be the guest on
Mike
that
likes
one.
that movie.
Yeah, and so like we had him set up and then he had to pull out because he's busy. Oh, my name's Mike Ryan. I've got too many responsibilities now. So it's on ice.
Okay.
Law. You obey the law.
When are we doing Point Break?
Oh, I don't know. Does it qualify? I know the new one qualifies, but no one wants to do the new one.
Oh, Judge Dredd. I forget.
No, I think we looked at this. I think the original Point Break does not qualify.
Does not qualify.
Yeah, it's probably too
I
good.
still want to do Da Vinci Code.
We might do Da Vinci Code month, to be honest with you.
Christmas month.
Billy still needs to get on the show somehow.
Catholic month.
Billy is on tap for one of the Fast and Furious movies. I don't know which one.
Pigeonholed.
Yeah, you kind of are.
By the
Well,
way,
the only one that would qualify is Tokyo Drift, right? Or
Yes.
Or was
No,
Too Fast, Too Furious?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
I love Too Fast, Too Furious.
I was thinking
I've only
back.
seen Tokyo Drift.
Tokyo Drift never happened.
I was thinking back to your story of
like
my
Rocky
original
V.
Exactly.
invitation and not doing it, and it makes sense because it seems like something that I would have said at the time.
Yeah.
Like, because it was the rules that we had to follow. Like, I had to get everything cleared at the time. I couldn't just go on podcasts. It's part of like my job at ESPN.
Mr. Magoo, man. Like you were you were supposed to be one of the earliest guests because you're supposed to do Mr. Magoo.
You had to get everything cleared, and I sent it, and they were like, oh, and it just takes forever because it's not high on the list of can Billy go on a mean cinephobe podcast. So sorry.
It's all right.
I love you.
I love you too. I'm glad we
What a
cleared the air
moment
on that. Yeah.
I think Billy could be a great cinephobe co-host
Ah.
because you talk a lot about movies and you're like, oh, I love that movie. Look it up. It's 21% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's supposed
Scott,
to
you didn't
be.
like Rocky V? I'm not saying
I did not like Rocky V.
Like
no.
it's not as good as the other Rocky movies, but you didn't like it at all?
I didn't like it at all. I mean, you're taking Rocky out of the ring, right? I mean,
I like Rocky V, man.
I don't know.
Like, I mean, it's probably the worst Rocky for
You
sure.
feel this way about Godfather 3 as well. We had this conversation.
Yeah,
once.
like
no, but like people say that it's just straight up bad.
it's bad.
It's like bad relative to
yeah.
the other Godfathers, but on its own standing,
It's
it's
an
not
alright
a
movie.
bad
Yeah,
movie.
but understand how I rate the Rockies. Rocky 4 is the best of the Rockies.
Yeah.
So 5 is coming on the heels of 4.
Oh,
you know?
I got it. So the letdown
Yes,
was too
such
great
a
for you.
letdown, yes.
Have you seen the trailer for the new Creed movie?
No.
What?
No,
You guys, I thought you'd be on top of
I know
that.
there's a
your
new Creed
movie,
movie
that
coming
dude's
out. I know.
like those two dudes are jacked.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jonathan Majors, he's having a moment. He's having himself
He is
a moment.
having a moment. I
Yeah.
saw people nominating him for Sexiest Man of the Year already.
Get out of here.
Yeah, Jonathan Majors, man.
That physique, Jesus.
I mean, like he's got muscles on muscles. It's crazy.
As isn't Harrison Ford now making his way into this? No,
That'd be weird.
You about to blow my mind. There.
Marvel, right? Isn't he going to be in a Marvel movie?
I think
Captain America.
Harrison Ford, in his 80s, is now making his way into that genre of film. Black Adam got crushed. It got very bad reviews.
A bad DC movie? I've never heard of one of those.
I was surprised at how awful the reviews were. Something else that surprised me is having Jim Irsay quote
It's flawless.
saying that
Seamless.
Daniel Snyder merits being out as an owner. You've arrived at a special place in hell when Jim Irsay, who's been caught with like a huge, copious amounts of pills in his car and $29,000 in cash, isn't afraid of whatever dirt Daniel Snyder might have on him, and speaks for the owners when he's not anonymous. You've seen that how often? As Jerry Jones,
Owner on owner crime.
as Seth Wickersham is saying that at the owners' meetings, that Jerry Jones is, what was the quote? I want to get it right.
F you.
That wasn't F you.
No, don't F with me. Don't F with me.
Don't F with me is what he directed at Bob Kraft.
Well, we should give Jim Irsay his quote. Make sure we have it in context. He said he can investigate me till the cows come home. It's not going to back me off. And in this case, he literally means cows because he lives in Indiana.
When we're referring to what he says, is it admissible in court? Because it is Irsay.
I liked it too. I liked it.
That was a good one.
Deserved a better fate.
But yes, apparently Jerry Jones also said, don't F with me to Robert Kraft when they were voting on Roger Goodell's compensation package for the next 5 years. Which I can't think of something that, like, as a fan, I care less about. This guy made $132 million over the last 2 years, and they're all arguing about whether it should be salary-based or bonus-based. Like, okay.
He could do that job for $1 for the next 2 years.
We've done this
totally fine.
We've done this show before, but damn, man, I'd be Roger Goodell for like a year. I'd let it. Like,
I don't know. Like once
to be a meat shield, I'd be a meat shield.
But
man.
once
Go
you
ahead.
realize that, like I feel like that job is just like getting an angry call from Shad Khan.
Yeah, but every 2 weeks you're reminded of why you have that job.
Yeah,
you know.
I know, but
Right.
like it's just fielding a bunch of calls from entitled billionaires.
Yeah, no,
that sounds
You're
awful.
earning- he's earning every dollar.
Sounds awful.
Well, if he hits the bonus metrics, he is.
Exactly.
I thought we did a poor job yesterday when we were
Just yesterday?
discussing the whether or not you would take an amount of money to be Wes Welker without any sort of thought to how bad pain is to have as a regular part of your life, especially if it's a prison inside your head. And he was undersized for that sport, and the only thing oversized about him was his helmet because he got concussed so often. I thought that we did a shitty job as a group of just saying, yep, give me the money. And
That's the whole game, though. That's the basis for the whole game is you have to deal with this pain, this head trauma, everything your entire life in exchange for
$50 million, let's say.
Whatever the number is. Yeah.
How much did Wes Welker make? 50?
40.
40? No, not enough. Not enough.
Come on, Amin.
To get the abuse? No, I need more.
Amin, what are you talking about?
I need more,
$40 million
man.
changes your entire family.
It also changes my brain.
Okay,
He's
that's the
coaching now.
point.
Scrambles it.
I think you guys are underestimating what these guys endure later in life.
Well, but in this situation, like Tony is making a sacrifice of himself, his body, his future, and his health
Noble
for
one would say.
generations of wealth for his family.
While he doesn't know what the pain actually is, he's in no pain.
Dan, I've played football before.
He'd played football before.
Okay,
Dan.
well, then you have known Wes Welker's pain.
Thank you.
Dan, not
For
to
nothing.
get like too serious again today, but like this is now that we have concussion research and access to stories of retired athletes, it is part of the reason why I think there's an existential crisis right now in football over how many kids are going to play it moving forward if it stays contact and it stays dangerous for young people. And that's something that, based on numbers and trends, maybe is going to start going down a lot more in the next 10 years. And something that if you're Roger Goodell, you're probably thinking about when you're getting your bonuses and such, and things that the owners are going to want to make sure that it stays a popular sport, given we know how dangerous it is to play.
It's not popular. Like, you're right. The numbers are showing less and less youth involvement in football, but the ratings stay the same. So basically, whatever schmucks end up at the top level, we'll watch them. It doesn't have to be the best.
I'm not arguing that at all, by the way.
No, I mean, you can't argue there's been a decline in athleticism or a decline in the quality of players that have moved into college football. And in terms of the people that are our best athletes, a lot of them are still choosing football. And I think as well, the rationalization from a lot of people is, well, now we know. You know what you're signing up for. We know when we turn on the television what we're watching. A lot of people have come to the realization that will be the case, and if you have a prosperous career in the NFL, it might come with some damage afterwards, but at least you know now. But in terms of participation, we had Dave Zirin on South Beach Sessions. He's promoting a new documentary about the NFL, and he said, like, he who comes on the show and is very progressive is like, my kid really wanted to play. What am I going to tell him? No? Like, from an organizational standpoint, like, it's great for him to be a part of something for like all these different reasons. I didn't want to tell him that no, don't play football.
Well, you don't want to discourage the passion of kids, but a parent has to make
and how could American kids not want, when they watch this sport, it has enormous popularity. Thousands of people go to stadiums, millions of people watch on television. It's the biggest thing that's on ESPN all the time. It's the biggest thing that's on social media all the time. How are you going to tell kids to not want to go be a part of that? It looks awesome.
Parents discourage the passion of their kids all the time. When my sister and I were forcing my parents to watch the Lord of the Rings extended edition in succession for the 14th time, they were discouraging the shit out of me, all right? That's just a thing that happens when you're a kid. I mean, you've probably discouraged your kids from stuff.
All the time. All the time. All I do is discourage passions. Like, I want to do this. Like, oh, yeah? Did you do your homework? Well, no. I'm like, all right, then.
You're not passionate about homework.
Do you do the thing that, every athlete who eventually emerges, they told me that I could never? Do you tell your kids, yeah, you'll never be a professional basketball player?
No, I do the opposite. I put it on in their court, okay, you want to be, for instance, a professional basketball player? You got to work. So, my oldest at one point was like, I'm going to be a pro basketball player. I was like, okay. Took my kid to a pre-draft workout. And I said, look, all these guys here, they're all hoping to just, get a sniff of the league. Right, and they've been doing this every day for their entire lives.
You squash his dreams, man.
I didn't. I'd never say no. I just say, you want to do it, you got to work. And I know my kid doesn't like to work, so it's all right. It's like a
you steered him in the right direction.
Self-regulating. Yeah. I don't have to crush any passions. Once you realize there's work involved, you're not going to want to do it.
Well, speaking of basketball players, last night I thought after game one, it was pretty interesting. A couple of things. One, LeBron saying a thing that is obvious, but probably he shouldn't say, which is, well, we don't have shooters. We had a bunch of open looks, and I'm not sure if they were open because we're good or because everyone knows to give us open looks. 3 of 10
from three.
Yeah, he was worse than anybody from three.
It's like it's not like we have any lasers out there. The way he used lasers. Mwah. But then it is almost exactly what I said when we talked about this the other day, which was, I think you can build a championship team around LeBron and Anthony Davis. I don't think that is it. They don't have the right supporting cast because it's amazing to me every few years we have to rediscover LeBron plus shooters. That's the formula. And then somewhere along the line, people say, no, you don't need shooters. You need other creators and playmakers. And then they realize, what would be good if we just had shooters out there with them every single time.
He can complain all he wants, but he chose to be teammates with Russell Westbrook. He wanted Westbrook as a member of the Lakers last year, did he not?
Yeah,
because it kind of makes it hard to operate the rest and pay for any other players when you have those three.
The Westbrook thing, what they did not anticipate was that you painted yourself into a corner. It's either going to work or you're screwed for 2 years. Right? The thing about what they traded away, KCP and Kuzma and all those guys, is that individually they could fail. As long as one or two of them was doing their job, you were still good. But when you mass that all up into one person, now there is no margin for error. And so, but the Stugotz, again, like I talked about the other day, they're in a position now where it's like, okay, we can either eat our shit sandwich,
right,
and finish the season out, and then next year do it right, do it the right way, or you can try to like fix this or salvage this by trading someone, but then you screw up future kind of prospects.
But so basically the Lakers have a card left to play. It's Westbrook plus their 2 remaining first-round picks unprotected. And there is sort of a floating theory out there that they could, if they wanted to right now, go get Buddy Hield and Miles Turner from Indiana. And there is also a theory that the Lakers might not want to do that yet because they can get some better stuff come January, February when the Wembanyama tank sweepstakes really begin. And if I can give you one bad player that you'll probably waive and buy out for your 2 good players that can help me win, a lot of teams will make that trade plus the 2 first-round picks so that they could just be made that much worse. So LeBron, in some ways, by shining a light on how bad the supporting cast is after game 1, I'm sure the Lakers hierarchy is like, dude, if you just wait like 40 games, we'll get you someone. We will get you some. We just not yet on Hield and Miles Turner, but maybe we can get someone from some bad team right now that you would be surprised they can get because they will be available at some point.
So if you remember when LeBron in his last year in Cleveland, they had the rights to the Nets pick that ended up being a top 10 pick. And he was like, are we gonna trade this pick? Are we gonna trade this pick? And the Cavs were like, dude, you have no guarantees with us past this season. Why would we do something super short-sighted to help what is going to be a train wreck at the end because you know the Warriors are there with Kevin Durant to make you marginally better and screw over our future while you walk away and go to LA or whatever. And so they didn't. That pick turned into Colin Sexton, and Colin Sexton eventually has turned into Donovan Mitchell. At the time, everyone was like, you got to do everything. I can't believe you didn't do that. But the reality was that was the right move for the Cavs, to stand fast and say, no, we're not going to just do this on a whim.
You guys would agree, right? As Kevin Durant says that everything in basketball culture in the commentary is toxic. He says the punchlines around Russell Westbrook, the disrespect of Russell Westbrook, who's been a great player, averaged a triple-double, MVP. He calls the environment that has basketball analysis in it so critical that it's toxic. You guys would agree that Russell Westbrook doesn't have much use generally for the press, right? Like, seems like he's got an active disdain for the press, because what I saw last night was a guy who was dying for someone to ask the question that they asked, which is, did your hamstring get torn because you have to come off the bench? And he's like, absolutely. It's changed my entire routine. He's been waiting for somebody to ask. He's been soliciting reporters. Will someone please ask me the question of, am I injured because I don't know how to warm up before games because I'm used to starting? He said, absolutely. Dying for someone to ask him.
Just ready for the snark. I will provide you the snark that you wish. But, I mean, as it relates to Westbrook, I guess there is a toxicity in sort of describing him as a bad player now, and there's also been a lot of revisionist history in terms of what preceded it. The MVP that he won, a lot of people say that's now an MVP that will look terrible upon further reflection, that people think of what Russell Westbrook as a bad player then when it's not. They got to conference finals. He was a great player in the 2010s, but now as his athleticism has declined, as his shooting has declined, as his willingness to change has never been there, there's sort of this anchor that's on the Los Angeles Lakers. And how can you say he's anything other than a negative influence when he's on a team with LeBron and Anthony Davis, and they didn't even make the play-in last year?
Woody, you know what he is? He's Godfather 3.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's not a bad player, but it's like, with comparison in the context of where he's in, it's hard to not see him as what Woody just described as an anchor towards what they're doing. But the reality is, it's just he's in a bad situation. That's not a good basketball situation for him.
Some of that reputation is on Durant, though. Durant told you he's not good enough to win an NBA championship. I'm leaving him. I mean, he did. He did that. And that's why Russ won the MVP, because he had a great season, made the playoffs without Kevin Durant.
That's actually a completely fair point, because I think Russell Westbrook's reputation as a difficult player to play with begins with Kevin Durant wanting to leave and sort of going to Golden State, like, holy shit, this is a completely different life.
You play basketball,
and it's like partially that's Scott Brooks and partially that's Russell Westbrook.
Well, it's not Scott Brooks, because Billy Donovan took over before Durant left, and they played the same exact way.
Are you with the argument, though, that Durant is making, that the environment around basketball is toxic, that the criticism, because we are in an age where you have players, LeBron playing this way at 40, Steph Curry existing, Antetokounmpo Joel Embiid, Jokic. These are people that haven't existed before. And so you're either as good as them, and even if you're as good as them, what does Jokic want? How good is he really? Because he's greater than everybody, but how good is he really?
But Dan,
it does seem like it's toxic.
It's toxic depending on who you're listening to. That I made that point when I think Durant made that point a while ago before. Like, this is the first time he said it. And I was like, yeah, but like, if your concept of the conversation around basketball is Skip Bayless and Stephen A.
and your Twitter
and
replies,
Colin Cowherd, well, no shit, you think it's toxic.
Especially if they're coming after you.
I said this on during the finals. I was like, yo, do you want national media that's saying smart, intelligent basketball analysis? Like, it exists. Go listen to Zach Lowe. Go listen to Kevin O'Connor. Go listen to Logan. Like, these podcasts exist. They're out there. But you're saying, oh, media is bad. Why? Well, because they said this. Well, what about these guys? Well, I don't listen to them. Oh, so you're gravitating to the very thing you rail against.
But they are the ones who are rewarded, though, the most. We talked earlier in the show about journalist versus entertainer, and entertainer, when Colin Cowherd says there's money in losing, there's money in that toxicity. There's money in just being out there and engaging Kevin Durant.
But to Amin's point, Dan, how many times have you said, have I said that Kevin Durant's overrated, has no rings in my personal record book, and you have said Kevin Durant is one of the greatest players you've ever seen? He only listens to what I'm saying and doesn't take in what you're saying?
But isn't that the nature of things on social media?
The nature of humanity.
To just take the negative and not the positive?
I guess.
I mean, but to complain
Isn't
about...
that why kids are sad and committing suicide at a higher rate?
Yikes.
Like, no, but I'm serious. Like, when you're talking about social media contaminating, doesn't Jay Glazer talk about this all the time? Jay Glazer, who you said I want his life, he gets to call plays in the Pro Bowl. Jay Glazer is saying that that's poison, that everywhere you look, someone's got a better life than you, and you're noticing the negative instead of the positive.
I mean, look, yes, there's always someone who's got it better off than you. Everyone has someone that they look up to and say, oh, I want his life, right? That's normal. But like the part where it's not even compartmentalized. You brainwash yourself into thinking it's not that he's saying there's there's toxicity out there. It's like he thinks that's all there is out there. He's willfully ignoring. Again, I'm not saying like some niche podcast here or there. I'm talking there's some big national voices that do it right and they don't care.
But if you're Kevin
Durant, saying I'm doing it wrong?
No.
Let's look at this just from the perspective of Kevin Durant. If you were as great as Kevin Durant is at X,
right?
How much use would you have for all the people out there who aren't as great as what they do as you are at what you do, telling you all the reasons they think you're an underachiever, you're shitty, you're not that great? Like, I understand how he's receiving it as, don't these people understand how good I am at this?
But Dan, the reality is every superstar has gone through this. To the history of the league. They said that about Shaq.
Even Jordan.
They said Jordan. One of my favorite.
No, Dan, they said it about Jordan.
But no. The only place I'm stopping you is that they didn't deal with social media. They weren't addicted to social media. But that's part of it.
But it's part of it. But still, like, again, I watched the Russell Westbrook documentary, and in it he talks about like media hate and all that stuff. And they literally just kept playing Colin, Skip, Stephen A. Colin, Skip, Stephen A. I'm like, if that's the only place where you relegate yourself to, he's like, he's not worried about Twitter. I mean, maybe he is, but it's not that.
Oh, I think he is. I mean,
but they're so hyper focused on these tentpoles, and from that regard, everyone goes to it. Man, like I said, one of my favorite NBA on NBC intros ever was like, oh, Bob Lanier did this, but never went to the finals. And Ernie Banks, Mr. Cub, never went to the World Series. And never went to the Super Bowl. And Michael Jordan, he's so great, but what has he ever done? I'm like, oh my God. They were like questioning Michael Jordan like 5 years into his career about, is he ever actually? They were doing the Stugotz, do it in the playoffs. And when you do it in the playoffs, do it in the finals. And then come back to me. They were doing that to Michael freaking Jordan. And again, at a time where it's not like Michael Jordan could say, well, let me go on Instagram where people are kissing my ass. Let me go on. Say, that's it. That's the national discourse. It's all coming from here, and everyone is saying this.
But don't discount social media, because Dan's right about that. Those guys didn't have to deal with social media. Durant hears it from Stephen A. Smith and Colin Cowherd, then goes on social media, and it's mention after mention after mention of people trying to get under his skin, to the point where he's not even noticing the people who are saying, hey, you're great.
And it's also like the very nature of how we talk about sports. When Kirk Cousins has a bad primetime game, we come on the next. Well, I'll come on the next day. I think Kirk Cousins is bad. It's completely preposterous to say that Kirk Cousins is bad. He's one of like the 17 best people in the world at what he does. Kirk Cousins is unbelievable in the grand spectrum of things. But when sports fans sit around and talk about sports, you don't go, Kirk Cousins is the 17th best quarterback, and if you apply some healthy perspective, he's actually fairly decent at his job. No, you look at the television.
He's
you go,
in my top 17.
You look at the television. You go, Kirk Cousins is trash. Honestly, like that's.
You watch your mouth.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that right now. What I'm saying is like, for example, the MVP. Like last year it was Nikola Jokic,
right,
and he was competing with Embiid. You will see Philadelphia fans go on social media and say, Jokic is trash. What are we talking about? Embiid's so much better. He does this, he does this. And you completely dismiss Nikola Jokic. Not say, oh, I acknowledge Nikola Jokic's graces, but I think that Joel Embiid is better for X, Y, and Z. No, you just completely that's the language. The language is everything can be the best or the worst. There is no let's apply some perspective and temper our language.
But I guess like my thing is like, is there really that much of a shortage of people who think Durant is awesome?
They're probably, I mean, in the national discourse on it, you will not turn on First Take the next time they talk about Kevin Durant and hear one of the panelists go, Kevin Durant is great. However, like it's just straight into the controversy. It's straight into whatever the subject of the day is. Very rarely do you hear Kevin Durant is an amazing basketball player, and let me enumerate the reasons why.
And you'd like to think he'd understand that, because why would we all sit around on TV saying, hey, Kevin Durant is great?
Because he's great.
Right, but what do you do with that after you announce that he's great?
That's the part of the discourse that can be, I imagine, very frustrating. We suck as a media at positive.
There's another element of this, though, too, that must be a mind bleep disorienting is, do you have any idea how much ass-kissing Kevin Durant gets walking through life? To have it be and feel opposite
the
that
discord
it's got to be a mind bleep.
Cognitive dissonance.
If you allow it to be a mind bleep.
No,
which he does.
But if you're addicted to social media
Yes.
and your life is surrounded by everyone wants to meet you, the most famous of the famous want to hang out with you. Tom Brady invites you on his podcast and tells you how great you are, and you got to listen to journalist
Stugotz.
X
You
tell
gotta
you.
listen to Stugotz. Don't put a name on it. You gotta listen to Stugotz say your rings don't count.
It's got to be weird to him to get the respect of Tom Brady, and then an egg on
But not
Twitter.
mine.
Then the egg on Twitter is yelling at you. You mentioned though Kirk Cousins. To be fair, I saw this from CBS Sports. I think Billy howled, "He stinks" back there as he hurt Tony. Tony sounded like he'd been shivved. Most games with 300 passing yards, 3 passing TDs, and 0 interceptions over the last 3 seasons. Josh Allen has the most with 9. Mahomes has 7. Tom Brady has 6, and Kirk Cousins has 6.
Wow, you look at that.
I thought he was actually pretty terrible on Sunday, even though they beat the Dolphins.
Do it in prime time.
That Vikings offense did nothing except for the 3 possessions that they did
win.
something.
Yeah.
And the Dolphins just kept going up and down the field, like without any aim towards achieving a touchdown. I think they outgained the Vikings by nearly 2-1 and still got nowhere near winning the game. The Vikings were ruthlessly efficient when they were good and terrible in every other possession.
They did get close to winning the game. It's much to my stunning disbelief, because when Waddle's running on the 30-yard line, once the Vikings made it 16-3 or whatever, I'm like, okay, this is done. The Dolphins aren't going to get 2
Teddy Bridgewater was
touchdowns
so
from
bad in portions of that game.
It's not on Teddy, though. It was on Waddle. I mean, Teddy was bringing it back.
That particular moment was on Waddle. But for large stretches of that game, Teddy Bridgewater was very frustrating.
Can I ask you guys what you think the age of Blake Griffin is? Because I learned last night that he's with the Boston Celtics.
He is?
And as, LeBron James is 40 years old out here, is an old man. As science changes, Sue Bird can play forever. You can play into your 40s somehow. They were talking about Blake Griffin as if he were a fighter pilot in World War I, like Ted Williams or something. He's 33 or 34 years old.
No, he's not.
Get
out of here.
He's
Have
He was drafted in 2009, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's.
Yep.
I think he's 33.
He's 33. He was 20 in 2009.
It
Have
feels
you
like a
guys-
lifetime ago when he was jumping over Kias, though, right?
Yeah.
No, it honestly it doesn't to me. It feels like not that long ago. There's this
Really?
tweet. Yeah. There's this tweet that's like it's from Troy Johnson. It says, I'm only 35. I have my whole life ahead of me. And then sports broadcaster, here comes the oldest player in the league. He's 32. A miracle.
But I guess it is because of the precipitous fall off in his athleticism that he goes from being the sort of the picture of youth to he's had an old man game for 3 years now. Like, didn't he go 60 games without a dunk in Detroit, and then he magically showed up in Brooklyn and had a dunk? It's like, whoa, he got a dunk!
Yeah,
Like it was
cruel. It's
and
cruel.
Did he missed his entire first season because of injury, right?
Yes.
So he's only been in the league for 12 years.
Yeah.
But it was after year 8. There's a line of demarcation, pre-dunking and post-dunking, and he feels like such an old man after that.
Stan Van Gundy was very happy to point out that he led the league in charges last year. And I felt like had the mighty have fallen. This dude used to like
That's
jump
when you
over
become
cars,
old, yes.
and like every
Taking
week
charges.
they call it's
doing the little things.
Oh, hustle stats and NBA.com/stats.
Yeah. And it's like, he's only played 56 games. I'm like, damn, man. This dude they used to call him
What a
Quake.
transformation, though.
They used to call him Quake Griffin, and then like they rank his dunks on a Richter scale. And now it's, he led the league in charges.
In 10 years, the athleticism has dissipated enough that I really felt the way the announcers were talking about him. The wires in the dialysis machine have gotten caught up in the walker. He's 30. Did we decide that he's 33? He's not even 34?
Yeah, he's 33.
He'll be 34 in March of next year.
What happened?
He had several knee injuries.
Yeah.
He's not the same guy anymore.
Where is he on the Austin Hooper scale?
I'm sorry?
The Austin Hooper joke is sort of like the is it the Cocoon timeline?
Wilford Brimley and Cocoon
timeline.
That's a
I
good
still
one.
don't know how old Austin Hooper
I think
is.
he's
Who's Austin
28.
Hooper?
He's a tight end in the NFL.
Oh, shit. All right.
But he's someone that seems very old, but is actually very young.
On a charges per minute basis, Blake Griffin had a remarkable season last year.
No, he led the league in charges despite playing 56 games and like coming off the
He
bench.
played 900
Led the league in charges,
Yeah.
though. No one ever had Blake Griffin doing that when he came out of
Stugotz,
Oklahoma.
Stan was so proud. He was so proud to drop that little nugget.
And he had 26 in 958 minutes, tied with Kevin Love, who had the same number in 1,665. Third is Derek White, who played 2,200. Blake Griffin had more charges than Derek White in less than half as many minutes.
You know why, though, right? Because Derek White actually has options defensively. Like, should I try to steal this? Should I try to block this? Blake Griffin's like, I can just stand in his way. That's all I got.
I don't have to move?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I got
You
left.
do understand how unfathomable it is to go from jumping over cars in 10 years to just getting in the way.
That's what I'm saying, man.
We should give him credit, though, for being willing to do it.
But Amin, as a former front office guy, would tell you there was a time in Blake Griffin's life where he would have never wanted him to take a charge. Never once take a charge. Not necessary. Please stay healthy.
Might get hurt, yeah.
We were rating his dunks on a Richter scale. That's how crazy it was, man. It's insane to me that there are going to be listeners now who are adults who are like, I don't even remember Blake Griffin's career. I'm like, look, let me tell you something, man. It was every week. He dunked on Timothy Mozgov, and Amari Stoudemire went to the free throw line, and he just kind of looked at him like, ooh, that was pretty nasty.
I wanted to ask you guys something. I saw somebody drinking before a can of water, and I've seen boxes of water for the environmentally conscious. But I was in a Mexican restaurant the other day, and they brought me something I had not seen, which was liquid death. And I thought they had brought me the wrong thing because I did not think it was water. I thought it was
packaging looks like it's beer.
It looks, or at least an energy drink.
Energy
Coffee
drink, yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
Are you guys aware of what that's sold for?
Yes.
The company?
Your glass? $3.50.
Very lucrative company that has basically made its money off of branding water as liquid death.
How much?
$700 million.
Get out of here. Really?
Who was it? Coca-Cola?
I didn't even understand the marketing. I didn't understand any of it. Water didn't taste any different to me.
No, the marketing is, this is cool water. Oh, you drinking that life water? Oh, I want more life. Let me drink water. No, give me liquid death, baby. Ooh, when it opens, it cracks open. Oh yeah, now put it in my veins. Now let's go out there and let's test life to its limit. Oh, you thought you're tough? Guess what? You know what's running in my veins? Liquid death, buddy. Oh yeah. Oh, you know what? I want to get a tattoo of liquid death on my arm, so that way it can kind of meet each other on either end. One on the inside of my skin, one on the outside of my skin, because it's liquid death, and that's what I'm about, baby.
Who are you?
Not a person on earth that has a liquid death tattoo.
Want to bet?
I completely disagree.
Well, I mean, there's
gotta
probably
be one.
There's
There's
people
gotta
with
be
my
one.
name tattooed.
I'm with the mean. I'm with the mean. I think. Wait, really?
There's people with like 2020 Cleveland Browns Super Bowl champion tattoos.
Dude,
There's got to be a liquid death tattoo
We employ
somewhere.
someone who has Greg Cody tattooed on him.
I wasn't even thinking about Juju. I was thinking about steak sauce.
Who's steak sauce again?
At LeBatard Show, do you think a single person on Earth has a liquid death tattoo? And also put on the poll at LeBatard Show. I don't think Juju's going to stand for that stray. I imagine he's going to be around here. Are you surprised that Liquid Death Water sold for $700 million as a company?
Steve-O has a liquid death tattoo on his neck. So, and they
go.
were running a campaign, hey, get a tattoo of liquid death and send it to us on Instagram.
But that counts for 10, by the way.
But that, like, to Amin's point, that's perfect.
That's the
Steve-O representing that brand.
That's the
and
demo.
then getting the tattoo, and then people who are his followers might get similar kind of tattoos. It's exactly the demo. Amin created a demo with his very bad impersonation, but he nailed it.
How can it be bad?
Thank you for
No, I'm
saying
not
that,
impersonating.
That's the person who drinks
That's the
liquid
person
death.
who-
Yes.
Guys,
Also, just as a point
Baby.
of clarity, the company didn't sell for $700 million. It was valued at $700 million, and there was a series of investment of $70 million that values the company at $700 million.
Yeah,
they had a commercial during the Super Bowl in which children were enjoying the beverage with metal music, parodying advertisements for alcohol, and it ended with the tagline, "Don't be scared. It's just water."
This is $700 million because of marketing correctly and nothing else. There's nothing else special about this. It's just, it looks like an energy drink. That's amazing. I know vodkas do that. I know there aren't very many differences between what the high ends of vodka are because they sell based on marketing bottles.
Tequilas do it too. I think.
This is the amazing thing about
No,
America,
but there
though,
are
right?
differences in tequilas.
We ostensibly live in a country in which we should have, well, some would argue we should have clean access, or we should have easy access to clean, drinkable water. But you can just, this company's not American, by the way, but you can just come into this country and market your water as being from a can, and it's like the most valuable thing in the world to people.
Where are they from?
Austria, I think.
On the liquid death. You Americans. Okay.
It's water in a fucking can.
Yeah, but it's liquid death.
Market.
But that, by the way, is like, I had a conversation with somebody about this the other day who's like who came to this country, and they're like, I cannot
Austria.
believe
About
I-
this?
I cannot
Talking
no, I
about
cannot
liquid death?
believe
Really?
that people like buy expensive water or they'll say, I will not drink Dasani. I will not drink
Listen to me.
Aquafina.
I am going to drink the liquid death. It's the only water I would drink. I'm from Austria and also California.
It's not the smart water.
It's not the smart water. You are going to like liquid death.
No, Michael, that kind of water is so not right.
It's an urban myth that Evian is naive spelled backwards, right? That's not a true thing. I know it.
Well, it
Evian
is.
It
Well,
is.
it is.
I know it is.
But
So
you're
it's
saying
not
as an
really a
exercise in
myth.
branding,
Depends how
they
you
were
spell
they
naive.
aren't pulling an elaborate joke on the American public, is what you're saying.
That's an urban myth. That's not a true story that Evian was branded. Watch this. We can sell. Americans are so gullible that we'll give it a fancy name.
All
we'll
about
make
the
it naive
packaging, all about the
backwards.
name.
So
No,
that-
it's named after where the water comes from. in France.
that's an urban myth. But what's real is that Payless opened a store. They took one of their stores in like Philadelphia and they redid it like a boutique, like big white spaces. Put one shoe on a pedestal and stuff like that. And they like their own Payless shoes, marked them up like $500, $685, and people came in. They had the velvet rope, and people were willing to buy Payless shoes for exorbitant prices just because they thought it was like some fancy French brand called Pelés, or they did some shit like that.
Really, people know.
Consumerism, right? If it's more expensive, it must be better. So we must need it, and we must have to buy the most amount of it possible, or else we are bad and unsuccessful people and have no value
Broke
in society.
boys is how.
I must admit, I fall for this on water. I buy crazily expensive water.
What
for
do you
no
buy?
reason.
What do you drink?
I'll go to the gas station. I can pull a bottle of Dasani if I want. And I'll grab the Icelandic one because the Icelandic package.
Like the bottle.
Yeah, I love the Icelandic water.
Well, Dasani does taste worse to me. Like that. The ice. I do.
Fell for it.
It's in your head.
Somewhere.
What are you talking about? It's water.
Somewhere.
I mean,
and the headquarters of Liquid
Mineral
Death.
water.
Someone's like, we got another one on the hook.
No, but I mean, you'd have to think there's some difference in water, isn't there? Isn't there?
This just reminded me.
Should we do a blind taste test of all
Yes.
all the waters?
I was
Spring
gonna
water
say
distilled.
in 4th grade, someone did you guys have to do science fair at school? Someone did for their science fair experiment. They brought all the 4th graders out, and we all taste tested 5 different types of water. And the guy doing the experiment told us, this is tap water, this is from the water fountain, this is Dasani, this is Evian, this is Fiji water. And then we rated it 1 to 10. And then we were all like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, the Fiji water is really good. Tap water is not as good. Tastes really minerally, whatever.
And
then he presented his findings to the class. Everyone rated Fiji water, oh, so good. It's the best water. And everyone rated Dasani. It's like, it's not that good. It's in the middle. And the tap water here sucks. The school tap water is gross. But he tricked all of us. It was all the same water the whole time.
Film noir.
I'd like to hear the backstory of the marketing of that company. $700 million to get a valuation of that on selling water, and it's just because it's a can and an attitude, and it's largely the same. Amin is here to argue that top-end vodka, you think there are distinctions between... Now, I understand the Smirnoff is garbage, but I thought that once
he was
you...
very snobby about it when he said it, by the way.
We have a business now where you sell sponsorships. Let's not
Trying to
call
get that
companies
money.
garbage.
Let's redact that because we're sponsored by a different liquor company today anyway.
One moment, please.
A better one, a classy one.
Keep going.
Okay.
Don't be distracted.
Don't be distracted by you leaving the room.
How do you feel about the rectangle bottles of Fiji water? Because I don't like it. It's like oddly shaped. It can't fit in the circle in my car.
Yeah, the cup holder.
Yeah.
Like non-cup holder friendly bottles of water, and yet I'm a sucker. I'll buy a bottle of Fiji water. I've every single bottle of high-end water at a gas station. I think I've tried all of them. And at the end of it, I paid $3.19 for this. What am I doing?
Even
I'm a moron. Essentia?
Yeah,
I've never heard of that one.
It's
that's
like
the
Swedish.
alkaline water, right?
Ooh, I've had both Smart Water, both the black label and the blue label. For whatever reason, the black label
You're a
makes
real connoisseur, Whittingham.
Jesus, his wheelhouse.
Like a sommelier or whatever it is.
Sommelier.
A water
That's
sommelier.
fine.
I think that's an actual thing, by
I was
the way.
pronouncing it in French.
If
He
you say
was
so.
born to the brands, molded by them. That's witty.
Slap off.
I like
James Corden was banned from Balthazar,
this story is
then unbanned.
James Corden slap fight.
Yeah. I mean, he was
Olivia
an ass.
Wilde salad dressing recipe.
Yeah.
This is what I was reading about yesterday.
what is her salad dressing recipe? By the way, Olivia Wilde, she's in Slam and Salmon. Or is that Olivia Munn? That's
I
another.
get them
That's
confused.
another couple I get confused all
I get
the
them
time.
confused.
Which one is
Olivia
which?
is such a rare name, I feel like.
It's gotta be Munn in your movie.
Probably
And
Munn.
why does it have to be? Wait, hold on. Why not? Which one is Olivia Wilde?
Olivia
Wilde,
Wilde's
who's
the one
with
that
Ted
was in
Lasso.
House.
Olivia
The one that's married to Ted Lasso.
Married
Olivia
to Ted
Wilde
Lasso.
was
Formerly.
married to Jason
Formerly.
Sudeikis.
Now she's married to
She's
Ted
like a
Lasso.
director and like more serious actress. Olivia Munn got started doing like fantasy sports shows.
Really?
Weren't there rumors with Wilde and Harry Styles? Something like that?
The rumors,
Wild Styles.
yeah, the rumors are that she left Jason Sudeikis for Harry Styles,
She did?
and Jason Sudeikis didn't like take it well, and basically
He was like torn apart,
Are you
right?
supposed to take it well?
yeah, like he sounded like he had some sort of drinking problem. This is all conjecture, obviously.
But who takes it well when your girlfriend or
Well-
wife is cheating on you? I mean,
Yeah, it was. No,
Some-
we're not
someone-
doing show. This is off air.
Oh, it's not. Damn.
We can start though. if you
Damn,
guys
that
want.
was fucking good. That was
no,
exactly
we
what I
needed
needed.
that.
Shit.
We weren't rolling there.
All right, fuck.
No, I didn't. Well, everyone was talking back here.
Yeah,
Oh, you're blaming us?
I stopped.
We're having
I
a
stopped the
production
conversation.
conversation.
Oh,
Yeah, I was
sorry.
having a conversation.
That's what Amin needed right there.
That's right. That's exactly the level of discourse we're talking.
Well,
and-
let's start over.
Yeah.
I can
Okay.
redo it all.
Alrighty.
Last time we did that went over so well.
When you said who's the actor from Rocky 3 who's having a moment, I was like Aubrey Plaza.
Creed 3, that's a fine. Jonathan Majors.
Yeah,
Exactly. Best looking man.
Fucking, oh god, the Aubrey Plaza show.
Olivia Munn is in Slam and Salmon, not
Yeah.
Olivia Wilde.
See, I get
Right.
them mixed up. That's another like Bill Paxton and Bill Pullman, Olivia Wilde, Olivia Munn.
Olivia Wilde is married to Ted Lasso. I don't know his real name. Jason Sudeikis?
Yeah, Jason Sudeikis. And not anymore.
Yeah.
I think they're
He's not Ted Lasso
officially
anymore?
separated.
He'll always be Ted
Harry
Lasso.
Styles?
Well, apparently she left Jason Sudeikis for Harry Styles, and their nanny is now revealing text messages to the press.
The
Former
nanny?
Yeah.
How's the
It's-
nanny in this? Like,
It's very
you know,
messy.
group text with like Sudeikis and Styles and Wilde.
Well, not with Styles, but yeah, she like there's a bunch of text published between her and Jason Sudeikis and her and Olivia Wilde, and now there's this whole thing with like Olivia Wilde and salad dressing and Jason Sudeikis
Wait.
like laying down behind her. It's just like
It's salad dressing like a
Bizarre.
euphemism
No.
for something gross.
no, not at all.
Jeez. You just said something about salad dressing. Good Lord.
Yeah.
How's Sudeikis taking it?
Well, it's all kind of conjecture, but apparently not well, and this has been like the hot topic of conversation on social media the last few days, and it's just kind of all very, very messy. But yeah, I get your confusion because they're both named Olivia, and they're both, I think, like around the same age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Olivia is Olivia a popular woman's name? It doesn't seem like it is,
It's
right?
very old fashioned, right? It's an old school type name.
Yeah, but I think it's had a comeback. I do. I think
I
it's
think
one of the
it's had
more
a comeback.
popular names.
I feel like there are a lot of Olivia.
Big
Well,
year for
Olivia
Olivia last year.
Newton-John,
Yes.
rest in peace. She's
Right.
like the
Rest in
original
power.
Olivia.
Yeah.
Xanadu.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how many like young Olivias there are. Maybe there's more now.
I think it might be coming back. All those kind of old school names are coming back. Grace and Hope and Olivia.
Well, they're coming back, but like with another syllable tacked on. Not to, you know.
Olivia.
I was gonna say like, well, he's not here, so I don't want to take shots at his daughter. But like, yeah, like
Dan?
like Grace Lee, that kind of thing.
Dan has a
Oh.
daughter?
According to BabyCenter.com,
Oh.
Olivia was the number one.
This is Baby Center.
Is the number one name in 2022.
Told you.
As it was in 2021, as it was in 2020,
What?
as it was in 2019.
The Dynasty.
4 straight years, Olivia, the
Back
number
to back
one
to
Wow,
back
how
to
about
back
that?
champions.
The Michael Jordan
but
of
a
the
dynasty.
recent, right? Like recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Recent
Yeah.
resurgence.
So look in like the 80s.
Yeah, when-
and tell me,
when-
because I just feel like
Big dip.
Retroactive.
Big
yeah,
dip.
there's got to be a
Yes.
dip. It's
Yeah.
got to be
Right.
one of those things that's had some peaks and valleys over the last few years.
All right, so Olivia Wilde was born in 1984. Then, what?
84.
Oh, wait a minute. I was born in 84.
38.
I know, but I was like 20 in 1984.
Oh.
All right, it was the number 223 name
Damn.
in the country. Then you go later in the 80s, we're still in the 200s. By 1988, it's up to 134. By 1991, it's up to 61. By 95, it's at
Wow.
39. By 2000, it's 16. By 2006, it's 7. And then, but once we get into the last, well, I mean, really the 10s.
It's had
it's a top
big
5 name.
decade.
Steady
let me
rise.
ask-
Yeah,
Some good
steady
draft
rise.
Let
picks.
me ask-
Exactly.
let me
Some
ask
good
you something
players,
like
some free agents.
Yeah.
It tanked for a while. Get
Got a
up
good
in the
coach.
lottery.
Woody, let me ask you a question in terms
Mom and
that you'll
Phil
understand.
Jackson.
What's your question, Amin?
Olivia's getting promoted. What name was getting relegated at the same
Ooh,
time?
good
Oh,
shout.
yeah,
Ethel.
yeah.
So go back to the 80s.
Yep.
Let's see
Right.
the most
What
popular
was big
name.
in the 80s?
Agatha.
Oh, in the
Ethel?
80s.
Yeah.
I don't think Ethel was big in the 80s.
No, by then she was only in Archie comics. Remember
Right.
Ethel? She had a crush on Jughead.
What were the big names
What
back
was
in
the
the
most
80s?
popular baby name in 1980?
I'm
So
gonna say
in 1980, bang on is
Lindsay or Brittany?
Jennifer, Melissa, and Heather.
Heather.
Heather's
Heather.
gone
Heather's
down.
a relegation.
And I mean,
Alexis
yeah.
had to be up there somewhere.
Wow, Heather in 2022, 1,338.
Wow.
We're not making Heathers anymore.
Yeah,
Wow.
ever since the movie's gone down.
Right, they
Heathers.
lost Phil
Yeah.
Jackson,
Which
too.
movie?
Yeah, Heathers.
I mean, why have you been pouring yourself a rum and coke this whole segment?
It wasn't.
Beyond the fact that it's spiced up Wednesdays presented by Bacardi.
It's not rum and coke. It is Bacardi Spice and cola. Because one of these people sponsors us, and the other one is just here. So no, it's the perfect drink for mixing. And I wanted to do this early in the show, but we were recording so goddamn early. I just felt it would be inappropriate to do this at like 9 a.m.
Because you've never done that.
It's never too early for
It's
alcohol.
11:12 as we're recording this right now. I wouldn't say that's
11,
much
make a
better.
wish.
It's always 5 o'clock somewhere.
That's right.
And it's 7 o'clock where Amin actually lives.
That's also true.
That's not how the math works.
8 o'clock.
Not going to your body.
But, I do enjoy the genuine spice rum, natural flavors, and the oakiness of it. You could taste it all.
Sure.
It comes alive. And you know what? I feel like if I had done this earlier, would have had a better show. I would have had a better show because the spice was in me. I didn't have enough spice to start this show.
Right.
When I did the Liquid Death little rant, at that moment I said, I should get some spice in me right now.
Right.
And then I left, and by the time I came back, you guys ended the hour.
Yeah.
Bastards.
I honestly thought you were leaving to go get various bottles of water
So
so
did
that
I. It
so
did
we
not
can
dawn on
do
me he was
a
getting
blind
drunk.
taste
No,
test.
I thought he was going to get some alcohol. I thought he was going to get some alcohol.
Based on the conversation, you're so right.
To go from water to drinking at 11:13 in the morning.
That's right, yeah.
Vastly different. Jess asked me what are the most popular male names from the 80s.
Let me guess.
Rocky.
No, hold on. I'm trying to think.
Is there anyone whose birth name is
Sylvester?
Rocky?
Yes.
Oh, I'm certain.
Yeah.
Like Rocky Boyman,
Marciano?
the linebacker.
Yeah, I know. I got.
Was that his real name, Roy? I don't know.
I got a buddy named Rocky.
I think David in the 80s was
Rocky
probably
works?
Brian, David.
Well, no, you got to think about who are the big, like Larry, Magic. That's one also.
You're overthinking
You have
this.
Magic being a top
These
name
are
in the 80s.
definitely going to be all Christian names.
It's
if
all
I had
about.
to
It's
guess.
all,
Larry.
It's all about like what was hot and popping in the 80s, right? And that's what people name stuff after. Michael, it'd be a lot. I bet you Michael's gonna be up there.
Well, this was in 1980, bang on. So
yeah,
but
Michael's
Michael was still. It's Michael, Christopher, and Jason.
Yep.
But Michael's
Jason-
always a good guess, regardless.
Well, Michael, because you had Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, Michael Tyson, Mike big in the 80s, right?
Right.
Jason Voorhees? What are the other famous Jasons of the 80s?
It's just a common name. We're
Right, they're
overthinking
just
this.
common names,
These are just
yes.
common
What-
names.
I
look
just
'em up
think they're
now.
common biblical names.
What's it like now?
probably.
Right,
Jason
yeah.
is not in
And
the Bible.
I think, well, yeah, maybe not.
Because,
Jason.
really,
Jason
not
the
Jason.
Argonauts. Yeah,
really
sure.
Jordan did become a regular part of the conversation
That's
until like
a-
88,
That's
you know?
Jason and the Argonauts. I forgot that movie came out. Yes, that's another.
Do you guys feel like parents in the room especially, do you have more creativity naming your daughters than your sons? I feel like boys' names have
we all have girls.
if you looked at the last 10 years of guys' names, Witty, I wonder if they would be more of the exact same as they were in the 80s. Like Michael's probably still very popular. Christopher's probably still very
Michael's
popular.
always going to be popular.
Kobe
Right.
and
Right.
Jalen.
Jordan's probably popular.
Jordan's won the promotion.
Yeah, but it would be late 80s into the 90s for Jordan.
But I'm just saying, nobody used to be named Jordan as a first name, or very rarely. And now there are Jordans everywhere.
Right.
So the top 10 current most popular baby names.
10 to 1. 10 to 1.
All right.
Boys or girls? What are you doing here?
I'm doing boys right now.
Okay. You want to
So,
guess?
number
I don't
10.
really guessing.
Number 10, Mateo.
Mateo is huge, man.
Is it?
It's huge. I know so many people whose sons have been named Mateo, and I said, you just didn't want to call him Matthew, huh?
I enjoy Ray Hudson. We used to work with him, Mateo Benetti does Serie A for CBS.
Yep.
He used to call him Matteo.
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 Matteo. That's
it's
like
my favorite.
Frank O'Harris. Matteo.
Ray Hudson says, "Hey, Matteo, how you doing?" It's like, oh, it's the best. Number 9, James.
Big game, James.
Number 8, Asher.
Asher Roth.
Is that just because weed's legal now?
Hold on. Here we go. To be fair, a lot of these are. Number 7 is Mason.
Mason Crosby. This is present day.
Yeah, these are current. This is the current top
Stugotz.
10.
Mason Jar.
I'm so disappointed you didn't go with Mason Dixon from Rocky Balboa.
Mason
Mason
Rudolph.
Crosby's funny.
Mason Dixon. What was his nickname? The Line?
Mason Dixon line.
No, but like
Mason the Line.
Yeah.
Mason the Line Dixon.
Mason the
Great
Line
name.
Dixon.
It's great. the line
So
made your
hacky,
nickname.
but I love it.
Number 6 is Levi.
Levi.
Really?
Strauss.
Also, the jeans really popular again.
Yeah.
Huh.
Did they ever go out of popularity?
I don't think so, but I think
They
now
were, they were
there's-
just always at Macy's. They're just
Way
there.
too
I think-
Levi's are a fixture. No, what I'm saying is like it used to just be a thing that was just sort of there if you need a reliable pair of jeans, but there was always more fashionable pairs of jeans.
I think
too
that
expensive.
vintage Levi's are now having a big resurgence. If you can get your hands on like a really solid pair of vintage Levi's, those are then they're. I actually went to a like vintage store in London and got a pair a couple years ago, and they were like $20, and they're the most durable pair of jeans. I feel like they're just having a moment right now.
Loose fitting jeans are back as well, right?
H&M
Oh my God,
jeans for me,
flare
please.
jeans! I was
Oh,
on
not
Notre
for me,
Dame's
Clive.
campus this weekend. I didn't see a
I'm telling
single
you.
skinny jean.
I'm telling
I didn't
you.
see a single ankle. I just saw flare jeans
Dude.
on the ground.
Not for me, Clive.
Back to school shopping with my kid, and my kid demands like basically baggy. I'm like, what?
We made so much progress.
No,
and now
it's
we're
back,
going
man.
back.
Nah.
We're going back to the
Not so
aggressive,
simple.
dreadful times of the 90s.
I'm gonna tell you
Aggressive,
what, man. There is a vacuum sealed bag in the back of my closet that's like, been waiting for this moment. They said it would never happen.
Like Cross Colors is also back there.
Does your kid
Cock
also
and I.
ask for a lot of short shorts? Short shorts are very in
and I.
right now.
Yeah, there's been conversations about how short is
How short is short?
You tell him.
Number
that.
5 is Lucas.
Lucas Oil,
Star Wars, maybe.
George Lucas.
Elijah.
Elijah
Wood.
Craig.
Oh, yeah, shout out to Are they still a
Bleep
sponsor?
that.
No, yep, no. Yeah, get it out of here.
Bleeping it.
Number 3 is Oliver.
Sorry, Bacardi.
Oliver,
Is that the male Olivia? Olive?
maybe. Oliver, I always think about what's the Disney
West?
movie?
Oliver Twist?
Not Oliver, just the cartoon with the cats.
I think
and
it's
Company.
just called Oliver.
Oliver
isn't
and Company.
Oliver and Company.
No
There you go.
one's naming their kid based on that, though.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Billy Joel.
Trust me.
over here. Yeah.
Number 2 is Noah.
Noahs. There's way too many Noahs.
Is that because we're going to like flood the earth again, so we need some more Noahs?
Yeah. we need some right
How
power.
many of any of these names could be considered like an ethnic name? These are all white people names.
Matteo is
Mateo.
yeah.
Yeah. Mateo for sure. But other than that, these are all like extremely white names.
Number 1 is Liam.
Liam. Shout out to
The
Liam.
whitest of the white.
One Direction.
You miss Liam?
I miss Liam.
You miss
I
Liam?
do miss
my
Liam.
guy.
In
Yeah,
me
his,
too.
in his
Yeah,
little
he's a good
Welsh
dude.
accent or whatever it
I
was.
still
Last
get
month, yeah.
every 2 weeks a thing pop up on my phone saying, "Reminder, it's your bi-weekly meeting with Liam." I'm like, oh, and I have no idea how to.
Can we
turn
have
it
him
off.
on as a guest?
Probably not.
Why?
Why not?
They won't let them.
They won't. Why would they
Stupidity?
let him? Yeah.
No, it's funny because if I ask for Schefter, they'll put him on. If I ask for Mina Kimes, ESPN will give me an okay. I asked for Mikey C, and they say no every
Christine
time.
Lisi?
Every
Mikey
time.
C's our white
Christine
whale.
Lisi, they
Yeah.
say no every time.
I haven't finished my drink though.
Was,
Here for a
was
while.
that your whole bit that you were going to make yourself a drink?
The whole bit actually I wanted to do early in the show, but it was just way too early, which was I wanted to have a serious conversation about like the Warriors or whatever. And while Dan was asking me a question, I'd be answering it. And
Just pour
I
the
just
bottle.
pour
Just
it
save
in.
some of that for me, all right? Thank you.
Well, you know what, man? This
You
is
were trying to do good by the sponsor.
I'm trying to
So
sell.
was I when I said Elijah Craig.
Yeah, Rocky Marciano, by the way, is Rocco. Rocco is his real
His
name.
name was Rocco.
That's right.
Leave all the brand names in the post game.
You say the official bourbon of Max Homa.